Imagine this. You wake up, grab your coffee, and like any Bills fan, check the team's latest updates. And then, boom, the news comes. A bombshell coming straight from the sidelines of Orchard Park. News that no one expected, but that completely changes the narrative of this offseason. And we're not talking about simple speculation. This involves a key piece of our defense. And to make things even more tense, it also involves an extremely worrying absence on offense. An absence that could turn into the biggest contract drama in recent years in Buffalo. Now, add to that another fact that, honestly, left everyone speechless. For the first time in recent NFL history, this team, our team, holds a status that not even the most optimistic fans could imagine. What's going on behind the scenes? Who are the protagonists of this story? And most importantly, how does this impact our run for the Super Bowl? Stay with me until the end, because what I'm going to tell you now is simply unbelievable, and it could define the course of our entire season. Let's start with what nobody wanted to hear. A major defensive weapon for the Buffalo Bills is now dealing with an injury that could sideline him until training camp. Yes, it's true. A lower leg injury has suddenly thrown some unexpected shadows over one of the most exciting additions of the offseason. This player, a dominant edge rusher with a legacy of Pro Bowl appearances, was supposed to be one of the biggest pieces to elevate the Bills' defense to the next level. But once again, the injury bug strikes, something that unfortunately has followed him for the past 2 seasons. Last year, he played only 14 games, registering 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 19 quarterback pressures. Impressive numbers, yes, but far from the dominant performances he was known for in his prime. And while the defense faces this sudden concern, the offense is not exactly in a peaceful situation either. One of the most crucial players in this squad, a player who literally carried the ball into the end zone more times than anyone else last season, is missing. Not because of injury, but because of money. Yes, the tension is real. A contract dispute that's been boiling under the surface for weeks is now fully public. This star running back, the heartbeat of our rushing attack, has made it very clear. He wants to be paid, and not just paid. We're talking about asking for a number that would place him among the top 3 highest paid running backs in the entire NFL. You might remember that just a few months ago, during an Instagram Live, he pinned a comment that said $15 million per year, making it crystal clear what his expectations are. And with the way he's been performing, it's hard to say he doesn't deserve it. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, 16 rushing touchdowns last year, tying a franchise record, and a total of over 2,600 rushing yards in his first 3 years. But here's the plot twist. While the negotiations stall, 3 of his draft classmates already secured big paydays. Khalil Shakir, Terrell Bernard, and Christian Benford all signed 4-year extensions this offseason. Meanwhile, this starback waits. And now, he's not at OTAs. Not a coincidence. Now, let's add another layer of craziness to this story. Despite all these challenges, injuries, contract drama, key player departures in the offseason, the Buffalo Bills enter the 2025-26 season with a record-breaking status. For the first time ever, the Bills are listed as favorites in all 17 regular season games according to early sportsbook odds. All 17. Let that sink in. This is unheard of. No other team in the NFL holds this status for the upcoming season. Not the Chiefs, not the 49ers, not the Eagles, only Buffalo. And let's be honest, this wasn't supposed to happen. This is a team that saw Stephon Diggs leave, Gabe Davis gone, defensive icons like Tre'Davious White and Jordan Poyer out. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year. But here we are. Vegas believes in Buffalo. Why? Let's break it down. First, the quarterback, the MVP. Josh Allen is entering his most complete version yet. Last season, he not only took home his first NFL MVP award, but he also silenced every critic carrying the Bills back to the AFC Championship. But it's not just Allen. The offensive line last season allowed the fewest sacks in the NFL, a complete wall protecting the MVP. That's the engine behind the running game and the passing attack. Then, you have the receiving core. Shakir stepped up in a way that few expected. Rookie Keon Coleman joins the team with high expectations, paired with the dynamic tight end Dalton Kincaid, who continues to develop into a legitimate weapon. Defensively, yes, there's the injury concern, but the unit is stacked. Greg Rousseau, now considered one of the top edge rushers in the NFL, just signed a massive $80 million extension. Last year, Rousseau had his career-best season with 8 sacks, 24 QB hits, and 3 forced fumbles. Pro Football Focus graded him at 82.2, his 3rd straight season above 80. He's now officially recognized as a top 15 edge rusher in the entire league. Alongside Rousseau, the Bills have a rotation featuring A.J. Epineza, Javon Solomon, the rookie Landon Jackson, and of course the veteran Joey Bosa, assuming his calf injury doesn't linger. Let's not forget about the linebackers, Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano, one of the most underrated duos in the league. And the secondary, despite losing key veterans, is now anchored by young stars ready to prove themselves. But there's more. Another reason Buffalo enters the season as favorites in every game is simple: the schedule. The Bills have one of the easiest strength of schedules in the league, ranked 23rd, tied with the Jaguars. That means Buffalo faces teams that, on average, had losing records last year. 6 games come against division rivals Jets, Patriots, and Dolphins, none of whom are projected to be major threats. Add to that games against the NFC South, arguably the weakest division in football. Yes, there are big matchups against the Chiefs, Ravens, and Eagles. But here's the kicker: Buffalo plays both Kansas City and Baltimore at home. The week's fun showdown under the bright lights of Sunday Night Football against the Ravens at Highmark Stadium, where Bills Mafia is ready to turn the place into absolute chaos. Then, later in the season, the Bills welcome the reigning AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, and they get them on a short week, following KC's Monday night game against Washington. That's the kind of scheduling break that championship runs are made of. Add in a mid-season bye week, followed by a relatively softer stretch, and you can see why the odds makers are so bullish on Buffalo. But before anyone starts printing undefeated t-shirts, let's be real. This is the NFL. Anything can happen. Injuries, surprises, trades, it can all flip overnight. The biggest clouds right now? The calf injury to Bosa. If that lingers, it could change the entire complexion of the defensive front. And the contract situation with James Cook. If that isn't resolved soon, you could be looking at a major offensive headache. Because without Cook, the entire offensive balance shifts. Allen can't do it all himself. Even an MVP needs help. And yet, despite it all, there's an undeniable energy surrounding this team. A belief that maybe, just maybe, this is the year. Bills Mafia. The table is set. The pieces are almost all there. But the next few weeks, they'll determine whether this team enters training camp united, focused, and ready to chase the one thing that has always slipped just out of reach: a Super Bowl title. Bills Mafia. Do you believe that this is finally our year? That this season has everything it needs to win the Super Bowl and silence all the critics once and for all? Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. But I will come back later to update you with the latest news from Buffalo Bills.